Hi everyone, this is Harold Ho from haroldho.com again. Welcome to my weekly blog post. Well, my goodness, it's already coming to the last week of July, We just left with one more week and soon August will be just around the corner. So, this week I'm going to talk about mistakes. We all make mistakes, don't you think so? I mean, who here have not made a single mistake in their life before? I'll be very surprised, and maybe you'd like to share with me that you have always been very perfect and not made any mistakes. I made one mistake this week, is to go off course in preparing this week's blog post. Okay, somehow or the other I went off course, and the challenge I had was to quickly get back and stay focused till the end to get this blog post out. Okay, so what is this week's blog post about? Well, the title of my blog post for this week is Why I Can't Close the Sale After a Perfect Pitch. Why I can't close the sale after a perfect pitch. What could it be? Most likely mistakes. And like I said before, we all make mistakes. Okay, so here we have some, killer mistakes that we should avoid, especially after a perfect pitch or presentation. Okay, how you can avoid all this that eventually will stop you from getting that elusive sale. It's hurting, it's painful, especially in sales, when after you've done a perfect pitch, some follow-up you made some mistake in the follow-up, and there it goes, you just lost the sale. One of the possible factor could be the not so hand-in-hand prospect. What do I mean by the not so hand-in-hand prospect? You actually knew right from the start before your presentation, even your prospect also knew that somehow or the other, your product and your prospect don't go hand in hand. They are not aligned. Somehow there's kind of a, how should I say, misfit. Okay, so you are gunning hard for that sale, you are pushing very hard, and let's say this client were to buy from you. You know what's the result is going to be? Two things could be happening later on moving forward. They are going to ask for a refund within the 30 or 60 days. Now you could say mandatory refund period or return of product. Okay, or alternatively, what could happen is that they may keep the product, but they are going to exhaust your support team. They're going to give hell to your support team. Every now and then they'll be calling in for this and that and this and that until they're exhausted. Your support team get exhausted and get fed up with it. So now, what are you going to do? Okay, this is part where I would say don't go on chasing that number. I know it's very important for you to chase that number, to have the sales number up there. But what is the result of all this? You're not going to have a good retention rate. This is what I call building your sales foundation on sand. Okay, think about it. Which would you prefer? You just have 5 sales for the month, but you have like something a 90% retention rate, or you prefer to close 10 sales to boost your sales number up, but not even 25% of those 10 sales are going to stay with you. Think about it. Which one would you prefer? So what would you do in such a circumstances? Be a professional as far as possible. Let your prospect know that we are not aligned. Our product or service may not be very suitable to you. You may want to recommend them another vendor as a professional. Okay, maybe some other vendor could serve your needs better. Okay, so as professional as you can be, in fact you will be kind of establishing a long-term relationship, to show that you are sincere. Okay, I'm not going to go after the sale knowing that my product will not be suitable for you. At the end of the day, you are going to come back to me day in, day out, night in, night out, and harass me that it's not up to the prospect satisfaction. Now the next factor to consider, that a mistake that commonly you will end up doing is stop sending those standard email. Okay, now you have gone on the phone, or maybe you have spoken through messenger with your prospect. Okay, you took time, in fact you tried very hard, you put a lot of effort in building that relationship with your prospect, after which you decide to follow up with them, which is very normal, with an email, and you start using those standard email template. And guess what? It's something very simple and stupid that we all can end up doing. You forgot to remove those, insert name, insert company's name, insert dates, or whatever you have there that you commonly find on email templates. You just totally forgotten to remove all that. Don't you think you're going to embarrass yourself when you send an email out to your prospect, and when they read it, what is this insert name here doing? And insert product or whatever it is there. So it's good for you to be natural, to be original. That's what I would say. Okay, not all of us are copywriters. I'm not a copywriter myself, but stay original in the sense that recap what you have spoken to them and put it down in an email to them, rather than the standard email template with standard text there. So at least you show some originality, stand out against all the others, instead of the usual follow up in the headline of your email. Perhaps you may try something different, like, would you like to leapfrog your results for this year 2017? Something that stands out that they can recognize it's you. Instead, this is another one of those email following up with you, follow up, that kind of stuff. So it shows you are putting effort and you will stand out. In the long run, this will help in your branding. When you do something more original, you stand out against all the others. So it will help you to close that sale. Okay, the next factor is being too assertive. Okay, I know. Okay, we as sales, we want to close that sale. So we always, tend to be very assertive. That is, you come to the end of your perfect presentation, your perfect pitch already, So now you have just one more goal to go. You want to close that sale. So you start being assertive. Okay, you start to push for a deadline. Say, you have shown them what your product can do already. So kind of like 70 or 75% of my job is being done. I've shown you already what my product can do, what my program, my service can do for you. So now, hello, when you are going to give me an answer that you want to buy or not? Okay, quick, okay, 5 days time next week, I call you, okay? That kind of, you sound very assertive, okay? And that is obviously not to the liking of your prospect, okay? You must bear in mind, they need time. They need to spend some time, to consider, what, really is this going to be a very something worthwhile buying? Okay, they need some space. So please give them that space. Okay, they need it. Don't deny them of that. Okay, if not, they'll deny you of the sale. Okay, this is something very important. Give them the space that they need to make that decision to buy or not. All right, so how do you go about then? What should I do if I don't want to sound assertive? Okay, I want to be persistent, which is very normal to us salesperson. Being persistent is fine, but too assertive will sound like you are very pushy. You're going to push them, quick, buy, or something like that. That kind of attitude, which is bad. So what you can do is that after your presentation, do a summary, a recap of what you just said, the good things about your product, your service. You'll be surprised, how short memory we all have. After what I said for 2 minutes, you have forgotten already. So it's a good time to recap. And after that, politely ask them, when would be a good time that I can get back to you? How about 2 weeks? Throw the ball into their court. Make them decide. Maybe, to your surprise, say, no need. 1 week, I can give you the answer. Good for you. But perhaps 2 weeks is too short a time. Let them suggest to you. Probably I can get back to you only in 4 weeks' time. accept that. At least they're giving you a clue, say 4 weeks time, then you come back, so that you don't have to start, being assertive to them again. So always, put the ball into their court to the timeline. Actually, this timeline is the most crucial, and that's where we all make the mistake. Okay, it's the timeline that we must get out from our client, instead of leaving it to chance. Just leave them by chance and say, okay, next week I get back to you. Okay, I email you. That kind of mentality, that kind of mindset. Okay, put it to them, so that it's like, instead of you giving the timeline to them, they give the timeline to you, which is the most perfect thing to do. All right. Okay, next one is failure to listen. I know, there is a difference you must take note between hearing and listening. Okay, for this I like to bring you out of this context to share with you something. I love this song, The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. There is one verse there, people hearing without listening. We are all guilty of that. Okay, let me tell you that. Okay, there is a difference between hearing and listening, and in that song I love it, that line, people hearing without listening. Hearing is the audible part. Okay, it's just the audible part of, like, now you hear me speaking. Okay, but listening goes one level deeper. Okay, is to understand what your prospects are saying. Okay, you need to put yourselves in their shoes to understand what they are telling you. Okay, to understand them, the good, the bad, the ugly part of it. So you should kind of take time to listen to them. Okay, keep everything in an open state, so that you can always address any feedback, any negative remarks being made about your product or this thing. Another way is always check with them at the end. How do you rate my product on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay, well, I only rate your product as 6, or maybe 5 out of 10. Then maybe you can ask, what is the remaining 4 or 5 part that is not so good? So at least it gives you an opportunity to address them. This is one way you can show that you are listening to them and not hearing them only. Okay, now the other, how should I say, the next factor negative is that be realistic with that no. Sometimes a no is a no, so please be realistic. Being perpetual is one thing. Okay, being realistic is another thing. So you must be realistic, knowing that, like I said before, if the product is not hand in hand, you got to kind of accept that. Okay, by research, they have shown that you need at least about 4 follow-ups after your pitch or presentation before you can get a yes from your prospect. Okay, so now you have done that 4 follow-up, it's not coming at all, it's gonna be lost, so you got to be realistic in that area, that a no is a no. Perhaps it will be good that you shelve this prospect for a while. Okay, not give up. Okay, you just put it aside for a while, like a KIV. Then maybe after some time you may want to revisit them again, come back again and see what's the situation. Maybe you could still stand a chance. Perhaps the first round you were not too ready, so now perhaps you can come again. So remember, accept no as a no. Maybe it's just for the time being. I cannot commit myself. That's why it's a no. Now, to end this all on a personal note, sales is such that you win some, you lose some. You gain some, you also lose some. So it's perhaps focusing on after, at the end of the day, is to do an analysis of what you have done right and what you could have done better. Okay, on this note, I like to end with a quote from a salesperson named Mark Hunter. Okay, I think this quote is very, very realistic and very, very it's like a perfect quote to me. Okay, it's not about having the right opportunities. Okay, it's not about having the right opportunities. It's more like handling your opportunities right. Okay, it's not about having the right opportunities. It's more about you handling your opportunities right. So on that note, I will end this week's blog post, by thanking all of you to spend time, reading and watching this video summary of my blog post. Do leave me some feedback as usual. Maybe you could have come across some other factors that cause you, to lose a sale even though you've done your best of the best pitch and presentation. Do share with us so that we all can learn together that this thing. I'm open, for feedback. So do leave me some feedback. Otherwise, let me end this week's blog post by wishing one and all have a good week ahead. Take care, and I'll be back again end of the month or even in August. So have a good week ahead. Take care and stay healthy always. Till then, Harold Ho signing off here. Bye for now.